Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your girl, Becky D, live in the morning, 5 days a week, 7 a.m. You guys, I have a question for you this morning that I really want you to think about. Here we go. Have you ever became worried because you did not hear back in the time frame that you was expecting? I'll ask it again. Have you ever gotten worried because you didn't hear back in the time frame that you were expecting? You guys, so many times we become worried and weary because we're not hearing back from jobs or people or whatever the case may be in the time frame that we want, right? So what happens is we start to panic, we start to worry, and we're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't get the job. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Whoa, wait a minute. Have you thought about the other things in your life? What happened to that positive outcome? That positive forward thinking. Maybe, you need to say, thank you for allowing me more time to get ready for the position that you have waiting for me, right? Thank you for allowing me more time in order to get settled where I'm at and what I'm doing before I move and transcend into another space or property. Thank you for allowing me to get rejected by the person I'm supposed to go out with last night because I needed to get my stuff in order, whether that be financial or personal, before I am ready to move on. We see the waiting room as something that is negative. But what happened to it being positive? What happened to it just simply being what it is? The waiting room. Now, there's a lot of things you could do in a waiting room. If you ask little 6-year-old me, there's plenty of things you can do, right? You can count the towels. You can find a new friend. You can even play the little games that they have there waiting for you, or read a book or magazine, right? Doctor's office is usually where we see those waiting rooms, or the dentist. And they have some music playing sometimes. I know the dentist that I used to go to, they had music playing. And if you ask me, I think that was pretty cool. Hum a little tune and whatnot, and it helps you relax. Now, some people have what we call white coat blood pressure, official diagnosis by a doctor. And what that means is your blood pressure tends to spike when you're going to the doctor because of several different reasons. 1 could be price. 2 could be you never hear anything good. And 3, it just happens. So they found a way to try to work around that by putting things in the waiting room to calm you down. Well, guess what? You kind of have white coat blood pressure because you're in the waiting room right now in your life and you're freaking out, right? Oh my gosh, why won't they call me back? Oh my gosh, how about you say, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the space that you know that I needed, that I didn't know that I needed, again, just going back to the body really quick. Your body knows when to shut you down. If you are not careful, okay, your body will put you in a waiting period and quick and fast. Have you looking like, this might be ER waiting room. Now, the most stressful waiting room to me is the ER waiting room because you sit in it. And by the time you have to go to the ER, it's pretty serious. So you in pain and you upset and you cranky and all of that. They don't have a remedy in order to make the ER room a little bit easier to wait. I'll never forget, I was about 18 or so, probably a little bit older than that. And I had to go to the ER. I had really sharp pains in my side, and my parents, of course, being parents, they didn't like the way it looked. They know their child, and when their child is truly in pain, parents tend to not take too well to that. So their first reaction was like, nope, we got to go. Let's go, get your things. We're going to the ER. Mind you, we got there, it was probably around 6 or 7 o'clock. I didn't leave until the next morning, but 98% of my time was in the waiting room. And I'm sitting there in pain. And of course, the parents are nervous. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, what is taking them so long? I started counting people in the room. And then I had to think about it, right? Someone once told me when I went to the doctor's office that not everybody is there for the same doctor and for the same reason. So how am I going to base my weight off of other people? It's almost impossible. So why are you basing your waiting room experience off of other people? However long the wait is the appropriate amount of time the wait is supposed to be. Now, there's points in your wait where you can check in, right? If I know that I've been in the waiting room for a little bit over an hour, now it's time for me to check in. If it's been a little bit over a year since you last spoke to somebody and you know they've been waiting to get themselves right, you may need to check in, because guess what? Sometimes that gentle reminder, and I use the word gentle, is what was needed in order for them to recognize, I'm sorry, your number is up. You may now enter the room. Okay. So we get into this waiting room mentality that we got to get in there. We got to get in there now. But sometimes we need to use the oven instead of the microwave and enjoy the time that we have while waiting. We're rushing it. What are we rushing for? Are we rushing towards our end? Or are we steadily letting the waiting room experience do what it's supposed to do? Crack a few jokes at some of the people that walk by, admire the beautiful view outside the window, catch up on daytime TV, so be it. But what are we rushing to? Nothing. That's your answer. You're welcome. The same thing that was in that doctor's office is the same thing that you was rushing to, a diagnosis, an answer, sometimes just a checkup. But if you rush it, would it get there any sooner? No, actually, to me, it'll take a little bit longer. So stop rushing it. Take your time. Enjoy the view. And while you're at it, if you're sitting in a waiting room, feel free to listen to a few more of my podcasts. Okay? And if you definitely have a second, I have a few more podcasts that I'd like for you to check out. So hop over to my Facebook page at Beck Dave Productions. That is at the @ BECKDAVPRODUCTIONS at Beck Dave Productions. All right. And I have a few more podcasts there listed for you to listen in on and enjoy yourself. Okay. My name is Becky D with Becky D in the Morning, and I will talk with you all tomorrow morning.